afternoon, Canberra. Welcome back to On the Right Track. It's your host, as always, Maggie Wright. Today we're looking at some ice hockey gear and also at some competitive Rubik's Cube solving, which, I was never good at. But my co-host today, Van, has some insight on both the topics. How you doing today, Van?
I'm well, thank you.
That's awesome. Let's get into it. Ice hockey. I know, as most sports on here, I know pretty much nothing about ice hockey. So, what's the main setup of players and how many do you have on the field?
It's a team sport. So, on the actual field during the match, you will have 5 skaters on each side and 1 goalie on each side. So 6 in total. And that's like a hard limit generally. But it is a really fast sport. It's played very quickly. And if anyone here has ice skated before, you know how tiring that can be. So they will take the game in shifts. So even though there's 5 guys on the ice rink skating, there will be a bunch of other guys waiting on the bench to take their place as they sort of cycle through.
Yeah, right.
And
so
that's shift taking.
So there's 5 people on the field. So how many defense, how many attack? How does that line up? Or does it change?
It has changed throughout history. But right now under the modern NHL, we play with 2 defensemen and 3 forwards, and the forward positions are split by the 2 left and right wing, and then the center. So I think that's pretty common amongst a lot of sports, right? Like you have the center and then the wingers. And
I've got that for like my field hockey team. So I've seen the field hockey side of things, but not so much the ice hockey. So how many people are we looking on the bench?
Oh, okay. So on the bench you'll have your leftovers. So in total, as the game starts, the coach will choose 12 forwards and 6 defensemen. Sometimes that changes, but that's a different case. Like this one team I follow, like the coach is beefing with one of the forwards, so he's just benched and they're dressing like 7 defensemen.
Oh.
Yeah. It changes. It depends. But
the rule strategizing.
Yeah, the rule tends to be 12 forwards, 6 defensemen. And they'll take that in shifts. So the shifts kind of go by these things called lines and defense pairings. So defense pairings, like 2 defensemen will go in, and then 2 defensemen will go in, and then 2 defensemen will go in to replace them. And those are based off of sort of like, so how much chemistry the players will have, how well they play with each other. And that goes the same for forward lines. So, a particular centerman with his 2 favorite wingers, I guess. That makes it sound like he chooses them. He doesn't.
He's like, okay, you and you're coming with me today.
My 2 best friends. Generally it'll be split by sort of talent.
Yeah, wonderful. So they'd be like, obviously in training, they'd look and see how people work together, I suppose. Yeah.
So, and there's line hierarchy, of course.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So you'll be running 4 lines generally of forwards, and like the first 2 lines are like your best guys, your big best scoring boys.
Yeah, so the best scoring boys, that'd be 6 of them. So because of 2 lines, okay.
Yeah,
I've got it now. I've got it.
Yeah, and then so that'll be top 6, and then bottom 6 would be like sort of your more sketchy kind of players, who I say sketchy not as in suspicious, as in like they're not as consistent.
Yeah,
they generally are a bit more specialized, or they have more holes in their game. Back in ye olden days, the 4th line would basically be like the goon line. I guess.
No.
How much do you know about like fighting in ice hockey?
Well, I was going to actually ask a question a little bit later on, and I've heard the saying like, I went to a fight and they played an ice hockey match in the middle of it.
Yeah.
On that.
I was watching a boxing match and suddenly an ice hockey game broke out.
Yeah. Some people love a bit of biff during sports. I know Bring Back the Biff was a whole thing for rugby league at one point, which is a bit of a throwback to the 2000s. What's your take on fighting in ice hockey?
Okay. Well, so if you watch a hockey match, you'll see that like there is hitting. So as in like body checking, right? It's a contact sport. They wear a lot of padding. It's comparable to like American football because of the fact that they're like skating on knives and they have these like sticks that are just like a, you know, blunt force trauma is like a thing.
Yeah. So
right?
you're allowed to whack into someone in the side? Is that what's going on? Or?
There's a lot of rules to it, and,
Okay.
and the way that the refs enforce those rules is it kind of feels like whatever the way the wind blows. So so that's sort of, you know, keep that fact in your pocket. Like the reffing can be a bit sketch. A lot of calls just don't, they just, the whistle is not blown, I
Yeah,
guess.
right. So
penalties don't get called. And so the idea behind goons, enforcers, is that they police themselves. So that's the idea behind people who fight each other in ice hockey. So if your superstar ice hockey player who's like really high skill gets his shit rocked,
That's all right.
by gets rocked
Yeah.
by a big guy during a play, and it's an unfair hit. So maybe it's a head hit, or maybe it's like an elbow to the face or something like that. Especially if it's done with like malicious intent, which I don't know if I have enough knowledge to say it doesn't happen often, but I like to think that most people don't want to hurt other people.
Yeah. As someone who's been on a field hockey team and rugby league for a little bit, I don't know. I don't know much about ice hockey's maliciousness, but those two can be quite vicious.
Yeah, okay, sure. So maybe these things are done with malicious intent, right? And maybe the call doesn't get whistled down. The idea behind enforcers is you will drop gloves with the guy to sort of duke it out. And it's like a weird Warriors code thing. A lot of it is quid pro quo, so there's no written rules about it, but everyone understands. So everyone understands that one, no king hitting, right? So don't hit a guy if he doesn't know you're coming. If you drop gloves and the other guy doesn't drop gloves, don't fucking fight him. Ooh.
Yeah.
There it is
That's
again.
all right. We'll
Don't
take
fight
it out
him.
in post.
Yeah. Don't fight him if he doesn't want to fight you. It's a pretty bad look if you go after someone who's smaller than you. So
Fair,
that's
honestly.
not like a hard and fast one generally. I've seen bigger guys try to have a go at smaller guys, but generally that's like an honor thing.
Yeah.
So the ideas behind it are like, well, the fights are consensual technically, and once they're done, they're done. But of course, that's really never the way things go. And there is this whole seething underbelly of masculine culture around it, right?
Yeah,
So,
I just feel bad for the kids watching it and thinking, like, that's what ice hockey is. Because, I mean, I've only seen a couple of ice hockey movies, really, to go off of.
yeah.
But there is a lot of the whole, like, biffing, like the whole Tooth Fairy movie. The whole reason why he's called the Tooth Fairy is because he whacks someone's teeth out all the time.
That happens by accident most of the time. That's like an accidental thing usually. The teeth thing is mostly accidental. What you're really watching out for is traumatic head injuries from either falling on the ice after a bout or just being repeatedly punched in the head. That's just not great, right? That we have so much medical knowledge now in the 21st century about that.
Yeah, so fighting in ice hockey is common. Like, that's a thing that happens.
Oh, like every I would say like 1 in 3 matches there's going to be some kind of punch up. And that to me, you know, I first got into ice hockey and I was really into it. I was like, "Oh, this is great." And then you realize, "Oh no. You know, the ice is very hard."
The ice is hard.
These
yes.
guys are they're unbalanced already, right? So when you take a fall, it's going to be a lot harder to sort of brace yourself for that, especially on ice skates. And I've read too many books about all of that stuff, and it's sad, and it generally makes the game harder to watch.
Yeah, someone who's fallen on ice, it's not very nice. Yeah, as we're recording today, Van's got, which team is your team?
Which team is my team? That is the question of all time. I started following hockey. I started following the San Jose Sharks, but I'm a fool, and
Same.
I just randomly started collecting more and more teams. I'm not one of those people who's just like a one team kind of person, and not because I have no loyalty. It's because I have too much loyalty.
So fair. I mean, I couldn't go for any other team other than the Bunnies, so I can't really appreciate.
I'm so sorry. You
No,
can't
that's
relate. I have so much love in my heart.
So who's playing today as we speak?
Who's playing today? Okay, so the Los Angeles Kings just finished playing the New Jersey Devils.
Yes, and what was the main highlights out of that you saw?
I was watching this on the bus. We jumped on the bus together, and you were watching. You saw me watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But we just won 5-1.
Oh, nice. And who's you in this scenario? You're the Devils?
Oh, I go for the Kings.
Oh, the Kings?
currently.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's a horrible thing about the teams I've picked up. They all play in the same division, so they're divisional rivals.
Is it all NFL? Not NFL, sorry. NHL? Or is it?
Yeah. So
Okay.
NHL covers all of North America. So this is the US and Canada as well. And then they'll have imports from like Sweden and Russia and stuff. But it's US, Canada hockey. And my LA Kings are divisional rivals with my San Jose Sharks, which is awful, heartbreaking. They call it the Battle for California.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and they're in that with the Anaheim Ducks, which some people might know from the Mighty Ducks movie.
Yeah, I love their merch that they have. It has the Mighty Ducks symbol on it. I know it's probably technically the Anaheim Ducks symbol, but it's Mighty Ducks to me.
Oh, no, it was the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim for ages, and then some kind of like Disney copyright thing. You know the way Disney is with their I don't know. Disney commissioned that hockey team for that movie. They were like, make us a hockey team. We're doing this movie, make us a hockey team. And now the Anaheim Ducks exist because of that movie. It's, yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, yeah, Anaheim, California is where Disneyland is. It's a wonderful place.
Yep.
Most magical place in the world.
Wow.
So
my Kings have won, and one of our players who has been in a pretty big slump, I think, this season, he got a hat trick.
Nice. So for viewers listening, because that's
for viewers listening,
listening, yes. If anyone listening, a hat trick is just 3 points scored of anything, especially like in cricket, they use that a lot. Yeah. But I know about the LA Kings purely because of the movie The Love Guru.
Oh, God.
Which they versed the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is definitely not a accurate representation of hockey.
I gotta watch that movie.
It's a terrible movie. I love it so much. The LA Kings were absolutely dominating in most of that movie. Do they do that in real life? I mean, it is a couple of years ago now with Mike Myers.
They have a complicated history. So for a long time, they were like pretty dominant. They have a couple of Stanley Cups, which is like the major championship. But they basically went full rebuild mode. They sold off a bunch of assets. Jury's out on if like that rebuild is working.
Okay.
They've done pretty well this season. But they have a lot of aging sort of veterans on their team, and then a cupboard full of sort of middle-aged guys, and then a bunch of sort of exciting young stars, but no one's really sure if they're sort of worth that kind of gamble yet.
Yeah.
So I believe in them.
So for the NHL, whereabouts are we in the season of things? Are we like towards the end or?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
I think, I say the end, like 20, 30 games left to play for each team.
20, 30 games.
Yeah, they play every day.
They play every day.
Yeah. So like not every team plays every day, but the NHL will broadcast multiple games during a day. There was one point earlier in the year, I think it was in early February, where all 32 teams were playing.
Like in the one day.
In one day.
That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Like they stagger the start times.
Yeah.
Obviously. they don't have enough referees to cover that many games. But yeah, they'll
That's insane. Like, I get a weekend of rugby league and I'm like, yes, let's go every day.
I am never out of hockey to watch. I want you to know that.
I need to get into this. This will fuel, like, I'll be able to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to watch
put the game on
again.
Yeah, exactly.
Again. My roommates just helped me out with some Foxtel so we could actually watch the Las Vegas game last night where Rabbitohs got brutally defeated.
Eviscerated.
Yeah, that's actually a really good word. I do like that. I'm hoping in a couple of years, though, we do get the NRL South Sydney women. So back onto ice hockey. I had a question, actually, that has been eating me alive for ages after watching all my ice hockey movies.
Yes.
The, like, red line in between... Like, the goals in between the red lines and the circle at the back, like, behind the goal. What's that? And whose land, like, not land, but whose ice is that?
Whose ice is that?
Yeah.
Well, that really is the biggest question. So, do you know that goalies have sticks, right?
Yeah.
Goalies have sticks, but, you know, most of the time you'll see them use it for blocking. There is no rule against a goalie just skating out and playing that puck.
Well, I mean, same in field hockey. I have seen a goalie nearly run the full length and score a goal.
Oh, okay. So we don't have that.
Okay.
So, let me tell you about the legend of a man named Martin Brodeur.
Yes, Martin Brodeur.
Martin Brodeur.
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah. So he is, I think, the winningest goalie in all of ice hockey. So
the winningest.
Winningest. Like, he's had the most wins of all time.
I love that. He's the winningest goalie. He's the winningest most alive.
And I think that's, the winningest.
Okay.
So he's got the most wins of all time. But he basically became notorious for this very specific style of goaltending where he would skate out and play the puck.
Oh.
Yeah, he would skate out and play the puck. This is very uncommon these days in ice hockey. When you see it in clip compilations, it's mostly goalies messing that up and getting scored on. Yeah, and he was very, very good at it. So often the puck would, like, come down his way, and usually you'd have defensemen and forwards sort of racing to the other end of the ice to catch that. If your goalie is there and he's playing the puck, you have an extra man on the ice. He was so good at it, in fact, that they changed the rules on him. They added this thing called the trapezoid.
Okay.
So what he used to do, he would play really far back in the corners, and he would play the puck there, and that would be a huge advantage for the team that he was defending. He'd be defending his own goal, of course, but he would also be helping out his defenseman who would be trying to run to retrieve the puck. He would pass it in an unexpected direction. It was a huge help. Anyway, the league saw that and they were like,
We don't like that.
Your swag too powerful, you know. Like,
swag's too powerful. Sorry, homie.
Like,
you got too much Riz.
Yeah. Your Riz too different. And they were like, no, you can't do that. So he got the rules changed, basically.
Right.
No one ever said that it was because of him, but
it really just was.
Goalies started picking up that this is something you could do. And so now with that trapezoid, that's like the only place that a goalie can sort of play the puck from like behind the goal line.
Oh, so the trapezoid is behind the goal line.
It's behind the goal line.
Oh, okay. So that's what that bit's called.
Yeah.
And well, it looks like a semicircle to me.
Oh,
or is it?
I'm sure the shape has changed since the last time you watched that.
Okay.
So current day NHL, it's the trapezoid.
Oh,
and
right,
so you can't play it when it's in those corners. You can go forward of the goal line and play it as a goalie, definitely. I recently saw a clip of a goalie coming in just like, I don't know, it looked like a sliding soccer tackle to me. Yeah, and he played the puck there. One of my favorite goalies loves to play the puck, and he's very good at it. And he's, I think, one of the only goalies in the league who does it anymore.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a niche thing for him.
It's very, very niche. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, because I've seen people like in movies, obviously, so it's fake. I need to watch an actual game of ice hockey.
Okay, get in on this. Let's watch a game together.
Do like an ice slam kind of thing, and he like brings it around the back of the goal and like smacks it in behind. It's just crazy. Is that a thing that actually happens?
Yes,
or is that, okay.
Yes, that's called the Michigan.
Oh.
It's also called the Sveshnikov. It's called a lot of things.
Okay.
But right now it's called the Michigan. It's where like the player comes, like, this is a skater, not a goalie. So a skater will come around the goal and scoop it up on his stick and then place it from the back of the goal line. And that's a legal goal. That's completely legal. Old school hockey men sort of they love to have debates about it. They love to say that it's ruining the game.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think it's just skill.
I think it's skill. I think it's fun, but it threatens their way of life. So of course, it's evil.
Yeah, being able to get a puck up on your stick in the first place, like getting leverage on it, and then skating with it in the first place.
Full speed too.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
That's just talent.
It really is. It really is.
Is there any other ways that you or different nicknames, for like goal scoring types that are really awesome? Like I've heard of the 5-hole trap. I don't know if that's
the 5-hole. Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with goalies, the current accepted way to teach how to be a goalie is the butterfly method, where they'll be standing in a sort of like, they'll have their limbs and their pads in this like butterfly formation. It looks like one, and they'll collapse down, and you'll have the 4 holes in the 4 like corners of the goal. So the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, and then the 5-hole is between the goalie's pads between his legs.
Yeah,
that's 5-hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You need to see the Love Guru. Like, just the way they talk about ice hockey is so funny. That's how I know about the 5-hole trap, because my old mate gets his old like texter out like on the screen. Do they do that where they like circle things? I know they do at rugby league. Like they circle the player and which way he's going and how the ball's moving.
Yes.
They do that.
I have read ice hockey strategy books. Yes.
Speaking of strategy,
yes.
LA Kings. You said you knew what was going on, secrecy with them.
Yeah. God. Okay. So the reason Martin Brodeur was so winning is because he played during an era called the dead puck era, and the dead puck era was this time when there was like very low scoring, and that is because of a very specific defensive formation called the 1-3-1 neutral trap.
1-3-1. Okay.
So if you can imagine like that, 1-3-1 is just like the name of just the formation of players.
Yeah.
So you have one guy in the front, 3 guys in the middle, 1 guy in the back. It's a defensive formation, and it's sort of designed to, as you transition through the middle of the ice, it's designed to swarm the puck carrier and get them to turn over the puck.
Yeah, so would your wings move back into that defensive line?
Yeah. Okay. And then one of your defensemen would move forward into the middle.
Yeah.
And then another one would hang back. And then you'd have your F1, your first one of your forwards.
Just in case.
Centerman usually, to be up there, forcing the puck carrier into the swarm. I can't describe this properly without huge,
whiteboard and all your textures,
where I'm like, okay.
And your hair's coming out.
Yeah, I got into the LA Kings because they play that formation, even though it's pretty outdated. Yeah,
and it still works.
It works.
Clearly, winning 5-1 today.
It works really well when it works. When it doesn't, the reason why it doesn't work anymore is they've changed a few of the rules around like passing. So they allow longer passes across more lines now, whereas before they didn't.
Yeah. Was it like netball where you can only go like 1 quarter at a time? You can't throw straight over.
I think it was passing across the red line in the middle.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics, but this was like right after the 2005 lockouts, which was...
So about 20 years ago now.
Don't say that.
To round off our ice hockey conversation for today, we're going to talk about the Australian League, because we've talked a lot of NHL.
Yeah.
Australian League, are we in season at the moment? It's a bit hot.
We play during the NHL's off season, so that's very convenient for me. I'll never run out of ice hockey to watch.
Just all year round.
Oh yeah.
So what kind of team names have we got in the what is the Australian League called? Is it the AHL?
Yeah, AIHL.
Australian
Ice Hockey League, because
ice. Okay.
Because the AHL is already taken by the American Hockey League.
Oh, that's silly. Sorry.
It is.
Sorry, my brain didn't even register that. Yeah, sorry. So what AIHL teams have we got?
I don't know them all, but we have a Canberra team.
Oh.
They're actually pretty good.
Okay, what are
so
they
like
called?
if anyone here wants to like bandwagon on our local team, please. They're called the CBR Caribou Brave.
The Caribou Brave.
Yeah, CBR Brave.
Nice.
Yeah, the Brave.
The Brave. And what team are you following? Or are you like Canberra?
I gotta be a
proud?
homer.
Good,
Hello.
I mean, everyone's like, oh, you live in Canberra now. Why don't you go for the Raiders? No. I love you, Raiders. Actually, I met Elliot Whitehead the other day. He's a lovely bloke. But yeah, no, I think I could get behind the Caribou Brave. I've just got to think about what animal a caribou is.
I think it's a type of like deer thing.
I'm going to have to look it up
Oh,
in the break
God.
that we have coming up next. So that might actually be a fun question for this podcast. As people know, I throw out a question during my podcast. No one's really answered to one yet, but feel free to DM me at ontherighttrack.podcast. What should, if you had an ice hockey team in Australia, what would your animal be? Or would you have like a mythic thing, like the unicorn on skates? I don't know. Yeah, that'd be cool. What do you reckon you'd have, Ben?
Oh, I love snakes.
Snakes?
Yeah, I love snakes. So I'd have like a snake themed team. I know snakes are like they have evil connotations, but I thought maybe like the rainbow serpent mythos or something like that. That would be amazing.
It's giving Taylor Swift.
It's giving. Oh my god!
Every time I hear snake, I'm just like,
Swiftie.
reputation.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's trying not to play Taylor Swift the entire time on this podcast.
You're being so brave.
I know, it's so hard. So yeah, actually, one of the nights that I went to the Eras tour, she and also Sabrina Carpenter talked about how they liked how we said no. We just chew on those vowels. I think we say it normally, but that's besides the point.
Nor.
Cleo, no.
Nor.
It's the condensation. Ina. I don't know if you've seen H2O.
I have not.
Do you know what that is?
The mermaid show?
Yes, the mermaid show. Sorry.
Okay.
That's why this podcast is called On the Right Track, if anyone had any ideas, because I never stay on the right track. It's all just a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
So, do you know who's winning the Australian Ice Hockey League at the moment? Oh, hang on. It's not in season.
So,
Who won last year then? Do you remember? It's all good if you
It
don't.
might have been the Brave.
The Brave.
I don't know. It might have been us. I wasn't into ice hockey back then.
Oh,
so,
true.
Yeah. But we play in April. So we play we start right before America's Stanley Cup playoffs start. I will be watching both, of course. So just
Awesome.
You know,
Well, I mean, April's not too far away.
no, it's not.
It's next month, is it?
We host a few games here in Canberra as well. So I think we host like 12 home games.
We're going to have to go.
I'm dragging so many of my friends along.
All right. Well, drag me along too, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
A weird, wacky sport for the finishing of the podcast today. We're going to talk about speed cubing,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I've seen a little bit of things on the internet.
Do you know how to solve a cube?
I do not know how to solve a cube. I was not that kind of kid, unfortunately.
Oh, it's literally just like patterns, generally, and being like spatially aware. You
I'm not good with spatial awareness. I know you have to do like the white cross first and then finish the white side, and there's steps to all that kind of gear. But no, I never got into it, unfortunately. I tried really hard.
It's literally just a matter of learning the patterns. I think anyone could do it, honestly. I learned to impress a girl in high school because, of course,
I feel that.
it didn't work. But I picked up a useless little party trick.
I was going to say, that's so Riz though. Like, for any of my mum's friends listening or anyone who endorses this podcast and does not know what Riz is, it's game or like romantic, like power, like how much, like...
It is derived from the word charisma. So Riz.
There you go, charisma. How much? I like that. I didn't actually know that's where it came from, but that makes so much sense.
Gen Z is. I love the way they. I say they as though I'm not one of them. I love the way that we just play with words.
Yeah, it's Look, it's interesting, that's for sure. Looked up some of the stats for speed cubing. 3x3 record set July 2023, 3.13 seconds.
That's recent.
That's recent.
That's recent. Yeah, well, back when I was into it, which was in like 2015, many years ago.
Years ago.
I think the record was sitting around like 6 or 7 seconds. So it's come a long way.
Yeah, I
Come a
mean,
long way.
yeah, that's slashing it in half, pretty much.
Yeah. I wonder if they're using new methods. There's a few different ways to sort of solve a cube. Yeah, I don't want to use like the big words of like algorithm and permutation on you, but it's basically just like using patterns to basically get the cube where it needs to go.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, because, I mean, algorithms make sense. I don't think I know the P word, which is ridiculous as a teacher, English teacher at that. Whoops.
Permutations is like how many different ways like a cube can look, I guess.
Oh,
so it's just like that's right.
Words and stuff.
Yeah, like words. No, I'm trying to explain this in a way that's like easy, but the stickers don't move, right? It's just
not
the
if you
cubes.
ask my sister.
I mean, it's just the cubes, right? So like this, let's think about like one corner cube, right? On a little 3x3x3 Rubik's cube. Each of those stickers is going to be next to each other, no matter how.
Like regardless.
Yeah, regardless, right? So there's like XYZ amount of permutations that a cube can have.
Yeah, so
right?
how many
not unlimited.
ways it could be.
Yeah. I think there's just one category of speed cubing where it's actually not speed cubing. It's the cuber like looks at the cube and then tries to figure out the least amount of ways to move it before it's completely solved.
Like without touching it.
Like they can look at it.
Oh yeah, but like without moving any of
Mm.
the bits and figure out.
they will move it.
Okay.
That's the timed part.
So they figure it out and then do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, in the least amount of moves possible, in the least amount of time possible. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I always thought that was way more impressive than actual speed cubing.
Yeah, honestly, as someone who struggles with maths, even though I try really hard, that that sounds insane. One stonks guy, very math savvy, on the playground when I was growing up used to charge... On the playground, yeah. Like, I think it was high school or something, used to charge $5 to fix your Rubik's Cube.
I could have been doing that. I could have been doing that all through high school. I would have made so much.
Oh, no, he was one of the coolest kids at that point when the Rubik's Cube came back. He was fixing them, about $5, off you go.
Did he have a speed cube, if I can ask?
I don't know. Look, he was a very busy man because he was fixing everyone's Rubik's Cube.
No, because speed cubes are different from regular, your retail Rubik's Cubes. Speed cubes are special made. I have one.
Because the core's different, isn't it?
It's they're much smoother and they're built to be lubed. Yes,
they're built.
They're built for speed, basically.
Right.
I have one and it's very like smooth. I wish I'd brought it in today. I wish I'd thought to bring it in today.
That's all right. I'm sure like one of our classes would bring it in as a fidget or something.
Oh, I'll bring it in next
All right.
tutorial.
Sounds good. So that brings us to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank Van for coming on today. It's been a brilliant chat. Do you have any final thoughts, final words or anything?
Oh, support Australian ice hockey.
Yep. All right. I can endorse that. Absolutely. So just a reminder for everyone out there listening, our question of the podcast was, if you had an Australian ice hockey team, what animal would you choose for it? And actually adding to it, and how funny would it look on skates? Because a snake would look very funny on skates, I thought.
Like
with
a
one
snake
skate.
mascot?
Yeah, snake mascot on one skate.
Yeah.
Trying to hold the stick in its mouth.
Hell yeah.
So DM me at ontherighttrack.podcast on Instagram to answer that question or any other feedback you have for me. I'd love to hear it. Thank you for joining us for another wonderful podcast episode, and I'll see you in the next one.